They're a big hit in the office.
They're great, man.
They're pretty good. Pretty good. Jets win total set at 9.5. Bruce. Strength of schedule is 12th. Not bad. Start tough in San Francisco. That's a loss. We'll end in Buffalo and Miami, week 18, where it's not too hot, so don't be too bad. What do you consider a successful season for Aaron Rodgers?
Well, he's got to make the playoffs. Got to make the playoffs. I think even you guys who are skeptical about the Jets, if they're healthy, I mean, don't you think on paper they look good? Would you agree with that?
No, I think they have a bad coach. I don't trust their offensive line, their quarterback. How long's it been?
I don't think the coach is that bad because the coach with the worst quarterback play in the league gets you 7 wins. Get your victories over Houston and over Buffalo and over Philadelphia last year. I mean, I'm just saying. So I think with a legitimate quarterback, he's going to be good. So they got to make the playoffs. I'm saying for Rodgers, 4,000 plus yards.
Wow.
20. I'm talking. What's a good season?
Yeah.
I'm not predicting what's a good season.
Okay, that's fair.
28-ish touchdowns, 8-ish interceptions. I mean, that's his claim to fame. Not throwing a lot of picks, but they have to. I'm not even saying I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender, but I do think they should contend for the playoffs. And a good year for Rodgers is making it. Look. It's not going to be the Lombardi looks lonely since 1969. They're not going to win the Super Bowl. But if he can get them to the playoffs for the first time in 14 years, I mean, that's going to create some buzz, and I think people will be excited about that in New York.
He's just got to play. Because when he plays, he's good. And when he plays, his team wins. And once upon a time, before all of this nonsense with Aaron Rodgers, he was one of my favorite players to ever watch. He did things that none of us had ever seen. And then Mahomes came along and he took it to the next level, obviously. But I don't want his career, just as a player, to end like this. It's setting up for one of the all-time terrible endings to a career, like Willie Mays with the Mets or Jerry Rice with the Seahawks. He doesn't have to be great, but be Montana with the Chiefs.
They got him to an 8.
They got to make the playoffs, don't they? Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Because people look at that last year in Green Bay as a bad season.
Right.
I get if you want to say it was average, but it was a bad season.
It was like a league average season. It was a bad year for him. But if he plays 15 games, this is what happens for Aaron Rodgers and his team. They win double-digit games. If he plays.
I mean, he's 40, though.
I understand.
I'm defending Rodgers, but I'm just saying. I mean, you compare what, like 32-year-old Aaron Rodgers is somewhere in that graphic, 33-year-old, the MVP years.
They said he looked great last year before he ruptured his Achilles.
Well,
it's a good defense. It's a good team around him. If he just plays, they'll be fine. They won't be great. They'll be fine.
I feel like we're in must-win again. They're both wrong again.
Yeah.
Thank goodness because I don't think you're
Where's
going
the
to.
No, these aren't predictions. No, I'm saying a good year is making the playoffs.
And I'm saying you're wrong because you glossed over it at the end. He told us.
What, Super Bowl?
Yes.
So that's a good season, winning the Super Bowl or getting to the winning it.
Getting. Listen, guys.
If they win 10 games, it's not a good year.
Right. Heck,
not
if they win,
according to. Okay, guys. When the Jets.
So now you're going to take him at his word.
No, what I am going to say is the Jets have given. Who is the single most powerful person in football right now? Aaron Rodgers. Got it. Who is the guy? They don't want their offensive coordinator, but they kept him to placate Aaron Rodgers. They brought in Randall Cobb out of the retirement community. They signed Alan Lazard. They didn't have a backup. They did all of this for Aaron because they're like, and guys, it's going to pay off because we're going to get the third wild card and go to the playoffs. No! They did it because he said that Lombardi looks lonely. And he is now saying, and they are saying, man, Wiles, how close was he to playing 4 months ago? He was days away.
Oh yeah.
He could have started at safety for him.
He did have a nice
we are not all of a sudden going to reset what the framework is.
He ruptured his Achilles.
I understand.
And he's 40.
Guys, I know all that. It's why I think they're going to be bad. What I'm saying is the Jets should have changed coaches. They didn't because he didn't want them to. They should have changed offensive coordinators. They didn't because he didn't want them to. There's a lot of things they should have done. They didn't do any of those things because they think they're Super Bowl contenders.
So you mean to tell me if they win 12 games, win their division, get to the AFC Championship against the Chiefs, and lose, that's a bad season?
According to the rules of engagement as set by the Jets.
Thank you.
According to the rules of engagement as set by the Jets and by Aaron. But
a lot of teams say the goal is to win a Super Bowl and everything short of a Super Bowl is a failure.
Teams,
so they're S-Bob.
Those teams don't trade multiple draft picks and give guaranteed money to an old quarterback where the window is this big. Guys, what are we even talking about? Was Brett successful with the Jets? Was Brett successful with the Vikings? No. It was to get.
People remember those as good years for him.
No, that Brett played well one of those Vikings years. Yes, I don't think that's crazy at all. Like that's what they told us.
If Rodgers has a great.
Okay, you're setting this up. Listen, Aaron Rodgers did get injured, right? That's the reality. So he did not get to play last season, right? He did not get to play 1 year younger than he was, which also matters. You had that momentum. So you have to readjust those expectations and those understanding. Yes, the master goal and the master plan is to win a Super Bowl, obviously. But this idea that is an epic failure and that we were all just point and laugh at Aaron Rodgers and the Jets if they don't win a Super Bowl is asinine. And Nick is creating a fake argument. It's a straw man argument. It's not real. It's not accurate. That's obviously the intention. It's the intention for the Eagles. It's the intention for the Cowboys, for the Texans. The Texans want to win a Super Bowl. Is it a disaster and a failure of a season if they don't win a Super Bowl because they went out and got Diggs? No. So it just doesn't make sense to me. It's nonsense. The goal is to be competitive, to have a chance to win the Super Bowl. Obviously, Aaron put out the expectations of, hey, this Lombardi trophy looks lonely. Let's go get another one. And now we're just going to act like anything short of that is just an epic failure. If Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay and didn't end up winning a Super Bowl and only made it to the NFC Championship game or lost in the Super Bowl, would that have been an epic failure for Tampa Bay? Because they went out and got Gronk and AB and all of that? No. It wouldn't have been an epic failure. It would have been a valiant effort. So this whole idea that Rodgers isn't afforded that, especially coming back from an Achilles tendon injury. If you want to say that it wasn't the best move for the Jets to do it before he got injured, that's fine. You can make that argument. But this idea now that him recovering from the Achilles and playing really well and competing at a high level and getting the Jets into the playoffs and winning even a couple playoff games, that's now a failure because he doesn't get to win a Super Bowl and become the MVP, that's asinine. That's insane. That makes no sense. Straight up, no sense. So to me, what does a successful season look like for Aaron Rodgers and the Jets? Is just that. Making the playoffs and winning a playoff game. Because people like Nick Wright says they are not good. They are awful. That they have bad coaching. They have bad players. Aaron Rodgers is a joke. All of this type of stuff. Nick thinks that they're a terrible team. Nick thinks that they won't even make the playoffs. That they are just not a good team. So how would it not be successful then if he exceeds Nick Wright's hating expectations by making the playoffs, maybe winning the division, winning a couple of games in the playoffs, maybe making the NFC Championship game? That would be a massive success because it would have flies in the face of what Nick Wright thinks is genuinely possible. Nick has been railing against the Jets and Aaron Rodgers incessantly, saying how bad they are, how they're poorly run, how Aaron Rodgers is a joke, he's not good, he's old, he can't come back from the Achilles, all of this type of stuff. So you think if Aaron Rodgers proves and the Jets prove him and all of those doubters wrong, that's somehow not successful because it doesn't end in a Super Bowl? That's insane. That's equivalent to everyone saying that Patrick Mahomes is the GOAT and is the best quarterback, but if he doesn't win the Super Bowl, if he doesn't three-peat, well, he's not that good. It was a failure. They didn't three-peat. It's a failure. That's the equivalent to me, quite honestly. You're creating these fake expectations So if they don't achieve them, you can then say, aha, he's a failure. So I guess every year that Patrick Mahomes doesn't win a Super Bowl, he's a failure. It's just not successful. I don't think anyone believes that. I don't think anyone believes that. I don't think anyone believes that Tom Brady was a failure on the years that he didn't win a Super Bowl, that he wasn't successful those years. It's not the way sports works. It's not the way life works. It's just not the way it goes. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? What do you think would be a successful season for Aaron Rodgers? Is it to win the Super Bowl, make the playoffs, or do you agree with Nick that the Jets and Rodgers are just not good? They're not going to play good, and that anything short of a Super Bowl is a failure. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.